Hello everyone, very good evening to all of you. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Welcome to the last lap to XAT. Today our topic is writing essays in XAT. Now I know most of you are afraid of this topic because you haven't written essays in how many years since you left school. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to write essays following a process, following a few steps. If you follow those steps, you can write essays on any topics. As you know, even CAT has an essay writing session in the second round, that is WAT. So this session should help you. Primarily, I have taken XAT topics. We will discuss a XAT topic today in the essay and I'll look at other essays. But the process and the steps remain the same, right? All right, good evening, Sankirtana. So what exactly is the essay writing section in XAT? It's the great unknown, right? We don't know. Hello, Priyanshi. Many of us really don't know. Like, we know there is an essay writing section. So students ask us, are we given marks for it? I don't know. Normally they shouldn't. What we know is that, hello, Guru Prasad. Normally we know that it is not, they don't even look at it unless you make the cutoffs. So what is the point in making you write an essay if they don't look at it, right? So obviously there must be some value to it. So just do not ever give a blank screen. That never makes sense. You will be given 25 minutes for the essay and the GK section. The way I would do it is, GK is easy, either you know it or you don't. Even if you don't know most of the questions, answer the ones that you know and move on to the essay section. So you should happily leave yourself about 15 minutes for the essay writing section. If you leave yourself 15 minutes for the essay writing section, you can write a good essay of 250 to 300 words. Yes. The time is separate. Yes, Sankirtana. Last year, once the multiple choice section got done, then the second section started. That is the GK and essay writing. For that, they gave us 25 minutes separately. Yeah. And it depends on you whether you want to do your GK at that time, essay writing. So why would you spend, GK, you either know the question or you don't. So most of the time, just look at the questions, mark the options and then move on to your essay writing section. Right? All right. Now the next question is, what kind of topics are asked? Now if you've seen the last 5-6 years question papers, essay topics, I have included them. Most of the topics are related to current affairs and issues or social issues. These are the two main ones. And generally the question asks you whether you agree or disagree with a statement. It can be in the form of a quotation, or they ask you to offer us give your suggestions or solutions, or ask you to, the most common one is to just ask you to discuss an issue. All right. So that is the key. A quote will be given to you, a statement will be given to you, and you are asked, do you agree? Do you disagree? What sort of can you offer suggestions for it? Yes, there are capitalism, socialism, jingoism, nationalism. We'll look at the topics, Rohan. All right, we'll look at all the topics they asked. In fact, I have chosen capitalism and democracy, which was asked last year, to not discuss in detail. I'm going to throw some points at you and tell you these are the points you should be thinking of. Right? So what is exactly tested? Now remember, the main thing is they want to see if you can understand and address a topic clearly and logically. That is what they want to see. Why am I seeing the eraser? Okay, let me just get my pen in place. Yeah. Understand and address a topic clearly and logically, whether it is democracy, capitalism, socialism, listening, or social work, or human endeavor. Right? There was once a topic which said when a world famous architect was asked on when he turned 90 or something at an advanced age, when he came up with a great building, he was asked, which is your best work to date? And he said, my next one. And they said, what's your view on this? So basically, it's about our human endeavor to always better ourselves, to do better and better and better, right? We know that we have potential to do better. That's what it is all about. But how do you put that into practice, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the other thing said, the best things in the world are not things. How do you write on this topic? So that is what we're going to look at today. All right, so they want to see if you understand the topic, if you understand it, how do you address it in terms of building an argument on it. That's what they are seeing. So that is what you should be offering them in 15 minutes or 20 minutes that you give yourself, right? Your ability to address the given issue, remember, relevance is important. Once I remember whether it was GD or essay, I don't really know. The topic was something on internet. I've said this so many times in my classes before. The internet builds connections but destroys relationships. And people have written pages. Internet this, internet that, internet that. Question is not asking all the points related to internet. The question is only asking the internet builds connections. Yes. But it destroys relationships. So you look at both the process. I agree with both parts of the statement, I agree with one part of the statement, or I agree with neither part of the statement. That is what you should be looking at. So relevance, are you look at the question look at the topic as a question, and your essay should answer that question. Then your essay will be relevant. You will not be talking through your hat. You will not be going all over the place. The second thing is, okay, this person knows a lot about capitalism and socialism and all that. Obviously, he's well read, but can he express and articulate his thoughts clearly? That means they also look at the language. Having said that, it's not like they expect you to write like a Wordsworth or a Shakespeare. Stick to your normal style of writing. Don't try to emulate some flowery writing style because you feel that looks more impressive. Don't do that, right? What you need to do is be yourself. Write the way you normally would write to express your feelings. All right? Obviously, no slangs, no bros and lols and all that. Those are not allowed. Formal English, but your style. Do not try to copy somebody else. Don't give big philosophical statements. Keep your language simple. Express your thoughts, you will impress. Don't try to impress somebody. If you express yourself clearly, you will automatically impress your readers. Your language should be simple. Your sentences can be short but clear. That is what is important. Clarity is more important than anything else. Okay? A few mistakes in grammar is okay, but try not to. All right? So keep it as simple and as clear as possible. That's the only advice as far as language is concerned. Obviously, they want to see your knowledge of the subject. All right. So do you just, I read somewhere that some person somewhere got assassinated, shows that you haven't read the papers, right? What you need to, these things are happening all over the world. These kind of things are not good. Somebody wrote in an essay. What things, what kind of things, what are you writing about? So make sure that if it is whatever you know about the subject, give it your best shot and make sure that you impress the examiner with your knowledge of the subject. If you don't know, if you know only 2 points, mention those 2 points, though I wish and hope and pray you know more than that. All right, so language is important, the content is important. Let's say you know both. You know a lot about the topic. Let's say the topic is very easy and you know all about it. All right, still remember, instead of just giving us idea after idea after idea, it does not show your logical thinking. What you need to do is have a thread in those ideas. Make sure that you develop the argument logically. Okay? If this happens, there are 2 options left to India. India can follow China's aggressive stand or do this. China seems to have given security more importance than economy. India, can it afford to do it, or should India first look at its economy and then the security? If India gives more importance to A, there is a threat of China here. But if India gives importance to B, there is this threat. Looking at all this, most experts feel this is what India should do, and I agree with it. So your points are clearly laid out, the logic is clear, and we'll say, okay, this person has a great clarity of thinking, which is what is the most important aspect in your essay, right? So are you with me so far? All right. Now the point is, okay, topic is easy, I know everything about it, also you follow the same process. Topic is tough, I know nothing about it. Still, if you follow a process, you can write an essay. The key is do not give them a blank sheet, a blank screen. Write something. Obviously, students ask me that somebody said essay ko bilkul nahi dekhte hain. Why would they ask you to write an essay if they don't look at it? They will glance through it. There must be some purpose to giving an essay. Why would they make us sit there and type out our thoughts if they don't care for it? Yes, it is. If you write an essay, you don't make the cutoffs, then obviously your essay has gone waste. But if you make the cutoffs and you are among those called for the interview and GDPI, then obviously the essay has some role to play. I have heard students in the past saying that, they did ask me a few questions on a topic that was given in the essay. It could be. So let's assume that the essay has importance. You're going to write a good essay, but don't get too disheartened that I didn't write a good essay, right? Give your best shot, but do not give a blank screen. All right, 250 to 300 words easily possible in the time given to you. In fact, last year my keyboard was not working. Okay, I had to literally, hit it with the hammer for the keys to work. So I could hardly get a few sentences in on the essay. The students to my left and right were, typing away to glory, which gladdened my heart. I said, okay, at least these youngsters know what to write. So that's the key. All right, let's look at the steps. What's the first step? Any essay, any situation, whether it's a timed essay or an academic essay, when you apply to colleges, right? Even now, CAT will ask you to write an SOP. IMB, even IIFT, if I remember, asks you to answer some questions, write short essays on something, right? Whether for that there is no time involved, right? You can take 2 days to write the essay. Here you are getting just 15 minutes. Whether it is that or this, the key is what am I supposed to write? And in that, since it's a quotation or it's one of those complicated statements that they give you, there are layers to the topic. So it's even more important that you read and restate the topic in your own words. Say it in 2-3 different ways. When you see it in 2-3 different ways, then facing lag, Kirti, some problem with your system. Okay? I think there's some problem with your system because nobody else has complained about a lag, right? So read it in 2, 3, 4 ways so that you exactly understand what is the topic telling you. Are Indian villages an asset or a liability? Many sat and wrote Indian villages are great, God-made villages, man-made cities, village. They didn't answer the question whether they are acting as an asset, helping our country, or whether these villages are a burden on the economy. That is what he wants to say. If you think they are assets, in what way are they assets? If you think they are burdens, in what way do you think they are liabilities? And when you look at the cost-benefit analysis, finally, which side is the scale tilting to? That is what they're asking you. And you have to give your own ways. So you can call it an asset. This is the way it is an asset. It's a potential asset which hasn't been explored so far, which hasn't been exploited so far. That is fine. Okay, but main thing is talk about the topic. So keep using the words in the topic in other words. That is the key. Understand in your own way words and underline the keywords so that at every point in the essay writing you're sure you're relevant, what you're writing. You've got 25 minutes only 15 or 20 minutes to write the essay. You can't say, oh, I'll delete the entire thing, I misunderstood the topic. That's the stupidest thing to do. Therefore, make sure you understand the topic. In the process of restating the topic, you will come across a lot of points. A lot of points will come to your head. So that is the next part that happens in your head, that happens on the rough sheet that you have with you. You type in your answers on screen, but your rough sheet will be there where you can write a rough outline. So in that, whatever idea comes to your mind, please put it down. Do not sit and weigh whether it's a good point or bad point at this time. Whatever point comes to your mind when you think of the topic, write it down in bullet points. In your essay, by the way, should be a free-flowing essay. Do not write the essay in bullet points, for God's sake. It should be a free-flowing essay. But when you are writing the outline and thinking, what should I mention? Either you brainstorm in terms of for and against. Most topics, when you look at it and you look at the instructions, you can break it up into a for and against, or you can break it up into perspectives. One year, I think the CAT WAT topic, or was it XAT? I think it was a WAT topic, which said impact of internet on society. Oh, an ocean to write about it. But if you break it up into perspectives, from whose point of view? From the communications point of view, from the medical point of view, from this point of view, from that point of view. As a student, I look at it this way. As an engineer, in terms of technical. So look at internet in terms of information, news, communication, whatever. So from this point of view, it's an asset. This impact has been the greatest, this impact has been good, bad, whatever. So when you break it down into a decision tree, it makes it easy. On the other hand, if the topic is about euthanasia or capital punishment or uniform civil code, right, then it can become a for and against, where you say India must have a uniform civil code in place. Most developed countries have it. Right? Why don't we have it? We should impose the uniform civil code. When you think about it, look at, yes, I agree, these are the advantages of having it. No, I do not think it is correct. Why don't I think it's correct? Alright? Or you'll say there are two schools of thought. Those who support it say this. Those who oppose it say this. Looking at it, I feel this is better than that. But give your opinion after giving expert A, B, C's opinion. That is one of the ways to write a balanced essay. Next, some of you asked me the question, this is an essay, correct? It's not a debate, true. So why do we have to take a stand? No, you don't have to. But you have to make your position clear. You can't say it is good in some ways, it is bad in some ways, right? Then every question becomes like that. If he says, science has proved more destructive than beneficial to mankind, a loaded topic. Alright, you say yes, science has both benefits and disadvantages. Science has given us, it has acted as a boon in many ways, it's acted as a bane. It has given mankind a weapon to destroy humanity, to destroy the earth many times over. Look at all the benefits it's given us. Look at the deadly things. Can we do without the benefits? So the benefits outweigh the one great disadvantage. But the point is that one great disadvantage can obliterate all its benefits. Now, did you get my idea finally? Did I give an opinion whether science has done good to us or bad to us? So I tell most students, since they are looking at coherence more than balance, you need to have a point of view on it while you can be objective. You can be objective by saying, look, benefits are A, B and C, disadvantages are D and E. When I look at it, I look at the disadvantages outweighing the benefits. That has to be taken. Once you give that opinion, then I am clear that you have expressed an opinion while giving contrary perspectives also. That is a good idea. Alright, clarity of thought also means I must know what you think about the topic. So while an essay is not a debate, while an essay requires you to look at all aspects of a topic, that is correct. For clarity point of view, often it's better if you have an opinion and express it with support points. But then it depends on what points you have when you're writing the essay, right? So you've planned it. You've read the topic. You've brainstormed all the points either mentally or in your rough paper. It's only the third step that you start writing. So let's say you've given yourself 15 minutes to write the essay. 2.5 to 3 minutes go off in the first two steps. Understood? Then only you start writing the essay. You don't start typing your ideas the moment you see the topic. Think a bit and then start writing. The essay will go better if you do that. That's my advice of an old woman. Alright, now when you write the essay, please remember who taught you essay writing in school? Yes, you can. You can write an essay in first person, though we normally ask you to follow the inverted. What do you think about it? Okay? What do you think about it? If that is the question asked, then first person. Otherwise, follow the inverted pyramid. Like once there was an topic on working women don't make good mothers. First person you mentioned, that's why. One person said, how can you say that? My mom's a working woman, my sister's a working woman, my sister-in-law's a working woman. All of them are great. Therefore, working women make good mothers. That is a little too much. First person examples, first person essays, generally keep it to your personal opinions. You can mention it. In many you have to, but keep it to the minimum. Alright, unless they ask, what do you think about it? Alright, so what are the points in an essay? What is the structure you should follow? Whatever you learnt in school in the earliest of your composition classes works here also. The only difference is in that composition class, I remember my teacher used to make me write a subheading, introduction, underline it, write a paragraph. Please don't do that. Okay, the introduction should give us an idea. It should be clear. It should tell me what the topic is in words other than what the topic says. So in your own words, introduce the topic. If you want, you can give me your opinion of the topic in the introduction itself. Okay, the body should have 3 to 4 paragraphs. See, in 15 minutes, how much can you write? So think of the essay as 4 paragraphs. P1, P2, P3, P4, at most P5 if you're a super fast thinker, super fast typer, then typist. Okay, if you type fast, which many of you do, thanks to the texting, I can't. So P1 is your introduction. 2, 3, 4 can be the body of your essay. The 5th one can be your conclusion. Alright, or 1 can be introduction, 2 and 3 can be the body of the essay, and 4 can be the conclusion. Depends on how much time you have. Alright. Very important, please review the essay after you've read it. Alright, after you've written it. So you will see how you have made small mistakes. Let me just read, have a gulp of water. Ayush, online, you have to you have to type it in. Yeah. All right. Small mistakes don't matter, Gaurav. Small mistakes don't matter at all. Okay, when you review, sometimes you can see those mistakes. THERE, THEIR. Okay, mitigate means to lessen. Suppose there's a big problem. How can you mitigate the problem? Means make it more bearable. Make it less severe. That's the meaning of mitigate. Weaken. All right. From where to read, improve? Nimisha, for XAT, you don't need to read anything, because most of the traditional essay writing books would give you topics like science is a boon or bane, religion is a boon or a bane, greatest human being on earth, funniest man I saw, visit to the zoo, right? Those don't help. The key is read good articles, read editorials, and keep this in mind. Look at past 5 years topics, work on them. Today we'll talk about last year's topic, okay, and you can write. What is somebody is asking what are the expected topics? You can't expect a topic in XAT, unfortunately, because XAT can ask you social issues in terms of a quote. It can give you, it doesn't ask you abstract essays, but it asks you a quote, right? So once they asked about the best things in life are not things. You can't call it abstract, right? But at the same time, it's in the form of a quotation, so you need to remember, read it, understand it. It's not like the kind of abstract topics that they ask in let's say a group discussion. 3 paragraphs, a little too less, Shadia, it should be about 4, okay? But as I said, when you are typing it in 15-20 minutes, whatever you can type in, make the paragraphs, make sure that there's a good flow. All right. Sanskriti, if I remember right, there was only one topic. I don't think we got 2 to choose from. I don't remember actually. I think there was only one. Yeah, there was only one. Democracy and capitalism cannot coexist. That was the one given. I don't remember, but okay, I should have seen it. See, what I did was I remembered what I had got last time and I chose the other topics. Maybe they give 2. Okay, I remember seeing this topic, loved it and start writing on it. If they give you 2, fantastic. Okay. So motivational video says there are 2, so maybe there are 2. 2 topics were given. I don't remember, as I said. Okay. Bilkul nahi, Gaurav. No jargon words. Please don't use. I told you. Stick to your style. Okay. It is not a round. Who's that? Ramesh. Ronak. No rounds. In XAT, the essay is part of the written test. In CAT, it is after the written test. Alright, Ronak. In essay, in XAT, it is part of the written test. After your MCQ is over, all the quant, LIDR, VA, LR, or everything is over, decision making is over, the time is up, the screen goes, and then you get your GK and essay writing topic. No, need not be. Devi Prasad Mishra, grammar need not be 100% correctly used. Try to make it 100% correct. Small errors are okay. Alright, that's exactly what I'm telling you. How can you prepare from today motivational video? I'm telling you right now, follow these steps. Look at the topic, restate it in your own words, understand the topic, sit and brainstorm all the points you can think about the topic. Alright, then start writing. When you write, think my essay should have 3 parts, 5 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs, but 3 parts, and those 3 parts are introduction, body and conclusion. The introduction should give us an idea about what your topic is. What do I write in the introduction? That's your next question, right? Give us a hint about what you're writing for the essay. Now, in a timed essay, I know it, your brain goes totally blank, right? I preach so many things, but when I have to actually write the essay, sometimes you can tell why the background is important. Why is it relevant, right? In the aftermath of some communal riots, they talk about communalism is rising in India. You can say that there have been increasing incidents of communal violence both in India and all over the world, and then start with the recent horrendous tragedy in blah 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 place. We need to look at it and then give it. All right. Yes, you can, provided you answer it also, Chirag. Okay, you can ask a rhetorical question. The meaning of a rhetorical question is you answer it. You can start the essay with a question and end it with the question, or your essay can answer the question. All right, one of the best speeches I heard, see the same point which is given for 1-minute speeches, for essays also we say the same thing. Somebody was talking about the importance of family in the life of a celebrity. That celebrities, film stars, sports persons need family support way more than the common adult. And somebody said, do you know why Sachin Tendulkar became such a legend while his friend his more talented friend, according to the same coach, Vinod Kambli, could not. And that person talked about the kind of support that Tendulkar got from his brother, from his family, which enabled him to pursue his sport while he forgot about everything else. Contracts were handled by his brother, the finances were handled by his brother, everything was handled by his brother. His brother said, look, I will take care of you, you go and play. Kambli, on the other hand, had nobody, and he gave just this short example and then talked about the value of family. It's not like the whole essay was dependent on only Kambli and Tendulkar, but that kind of increase. You know, I'm a cricket follower, big fan of Sachin Tendulkar. To me, he is God. Okay, retired, not retired, doesn't matter. So that increased interest. So rhetorical questions, yes, welcome. Background information, welcome. You can't think of any of these things, then the best one is start directly. Don't worry about, I must come up with a good starting, because the timer keeps ticking. So if you have nothing that comes immediately to your mind, a quote yaad aaya, you don't know the quote very well, do not give a wrong quote, do not write some rubbish and say this was said by Shakespeare, don't do all that. Right? Remember, you are insulting the intelligence of the person who's reading it when you do that, when you try to bluff. So if you don't remember a quote properly, leave it. If you don't remember who said something, leave it. Start directly. It would be good if you can start with statistics, start with a quotation, start with a rhetorical question, startling statistics. Contrary to the expectations that the per capita income is rising, it is actually falling. Alright, if they ask like that, then obviously it increases interest. It is a little more general, Devi Prasad. In WAT, it's all over the place, right? WAT, because by its very nature, they are giving it to small groups of students. So WAT, CAT question setters have to come up with a lot of topics, right? You don't have the same topic, but for XAT, it's obviously they think of the best possible topic because there's one topic across the board. So CAT, obviously the topics are wide ranging, while in XAT most of it has to do either with the social issue. I'll give you the topics, okay? We are going a little ahead of where I am. I'll show you what are the topics in the last few years. Alright, there was one I told you, which is your best work, and this world famous architect said my next one. The other one was about the Stockholm Syndrome. There was another one about jingoism and nationalism. There was another one, the earth has enough for man's need but not man's greed. So many of them. The next world war will be fought over water. Water will be the reason for the third world war or something like that. So there were so many topics that I remember. I remember long back there was one on the Stockholm Syndrome, which actually gave a long quote about going into B school, hating it, and then finally falling in love with it. Okay, so God and man met each other. Okay, man ran and met God, and both of them exclaimed, "My Creator." That was the quote that was given. Yeah, so they don't give very direct questions in that, which is why it's important that you read the topic 4, 5, 6 times till you really understand what the topic is asking. 1 billion, a great opportunity, or a big threat, big problem, right? So lots of topics that has given. We will look at some of them. Main point is, remember guys, a point that you make is just an opinion. An essay which is a set of opinions is good, but an essay which has opinions backed by support points like reasons and examples and facts becomes a fantastic essay. So if your general knowledge and reading is good and you are lucky to get a topic about which you know something, then you can write a very good essay in the given time. In the conclusion, remember, sum up all the points you've made in the essay in other words. Don't just repeat what you have said, say it in other words. Do not add any new points in the conclusion. But the moment you see you're running out of time, don't leave the essay like that. Adding a small conclusion gives the essay a very well-rounded look. Alright, now last year's topic was this: capitalism and democracy cannot coexist. Okay, I'll just quickly show you the other topics before we will talk about this topic. I've just put together some of the points I had brainstormed. Okay, somebody was asking me about the topics. Ethical practices and sustainability, do they coexist? Business and ethics. This is a favorite with XAT. In essays, in interviews, in some form or the other, CAT and XAT keeps coming back to this. Business and ethics are mutually exclusive topics. Ethical practices and sustainability cannot coexist. Do they coexist? Next one, many people didn't know the meaning of jingoism. Yeah, fanaticism about your nation is jingoism. Fanaticism about your nation, community, anything is jingoism. Generally we say excessive patriotism. Rabid patriotism is jingoism. Globalization and jingoism cannot coexist. Technology and nature are natural enemies. This is a variation of man's need, man's greed. What did they talk about? Destructive development, science, the destructive nature of science. This is the quote I'm talking about. Listening is a dying art. We hardly listen to understand. We only listen to refute or reply. Now, when you're given a topic like this, what can you write about it is the point. You will run out of ideas very soon. That is when your planning helps. Then you say that I'll talk about what's the difference between listening and what we are doing. Okay, what are the advantages of listening, why we do not listen, and what are the consequences of that. Got it? Next one. The most beautiful thing can neither be seen nor be touched but can only be felt. You can talk about the wonderful intangibles like care and love and compassion and generosity and gratitude and all that, and talk about it. In our very materialistic world, again, how can you sustain on this topic? Needs lots of examples. Give the example of I remember one of the students had written about how intangibles actually rule the world. It's not money. Why? If at that time he spoke about Mother Teresa, right? Anybody, she wouldn't go to countries and meet leaders. When they came to India, they met her. And who is she? What has she done? All she did was look after the poor. But she did something which was remarkable. So that is the power of intangibles, right? Oh yes, it can be about the corona and the pandemic that, no matter how sophisticated you think you are, nature finds its way to get back to you. Or about the importance of healthcare, about what we should be, the pandemic was not really something that was, it was like one of those black swan events, right? Was it, who had predicted it? Maybe even the same person who wrote Black Swan, that because of globalization, because people are traveling all over the world, it's a borderless world, so there are a lot of advantages. The disadvantage is this, and he was warning about Ebola actually. He said that, you have to be very, very careful about it. So how people have come together, how people came together during the pandemic, anything is possible. Now this turned out to be a pretty tricky topic. Corruption is the root cause of economic slowdown in India. Many students wrote a lot about corruption and said it caused the economic slowdown. The key is that extreme statement. Is it the root cause? If you can justify how, then your essay is fantastic. If you said many causes, corruption is one of them, that's another way. Everything is related to corruption, how you can tie it up then. So all this, these are not difficult topics. These are not something that you really have to worry about, where do I get the points from. But the key is, how do you plan and sustain a 250 to 300 word essay on it. And finally, remember, they're not going to see, do I agree with this boy or girl or not? They're looking at how well you're building an argument on the topic. So that is the key they are looking at. All right, let's look at last year's topic. I want answers from you before I brainstorm. Capitalism and democracy cannot coexist. If you were writing this topic, let's say you face this on your screen, you see this on your screen, what would you do? Would you do 1 or 2? Let's start with the first one. Would you start by answering the question that yes, capitalism and democracy cannot coexist, I believe they can't coexist, why they can't? Or would you do the second one? Devi Prashad, if you don't know enough about it, just you have to, write a general essay about it, right? So you can only do that much. What else can you do? What I said is when you're writing your essay, don't bluff, okay? In the end, if you write a lot of Gyan and Globe because you have to write something, but think, if since you are anticipating the topic, now write about it. Just Google a few things about inflation due to the pandemic, which are the countries which suffered, why did it happen, then you have an essay in hand. Alright, so here I am getting your answers. Riddha says she's going to define the terms and then develop the argument. Motivational video, Gaurav, Preet, Karthik, Rakshana is going to take the first way. Let's start by answering the question. Both ways are fine, okay? Both ways are fine. There's no right and wrong here. So when you think in terms of A or B, let's say, for example, Rakshana, when you're thinking, I'm going to support, I'm going to agree or disagree and support, then when you are brainstorming your topic, you are going to do exactly that. You write all the points which say why they can't coexist, write all the points which say no, they might coexist, and then draw a balance. Those of you who are saying, I'm going to use the second one, what is democracy, what is capitalism, why is this topic being asked? So there are two things we have to do. They can coexist in many, they do coexist in many forms around the world. So why are you asking this? Then you start defining what is democracy in your own words. Don't go with Abraham Lincoln government by the people, for the people, of the people. Nowadays it's become, so this is the misquote. The internet has done a lot of damage to a lot of our quotations. Somebody writes a quote, somebody makes a twist of the quote. He said, democracy, this topic, democracy and capitalism, Karthik, you will find HBR. Yesterday I was trying to look at points. I think I found at least 4 or 5 articles in Harvard Business Review on the same topic. It was based on a paper by somebody, huge. But I just looked at it, and then there were many more in India also about it. But India went into, the topics went into other areas. So yeah, very nice articles. Yesterday, HBR, there were very nice articles on it. So again, as I said, one way you say that, think of all the countries in the world. Which is the most dominant form of governance, right? There are variations. We call ourselves a democracy. US calls itself a democracy. It called itself a democracy under Trump also. So we all call ourselves democracy. There are various forms of democracy, and there are various forms of capitalism. So somewhere they're getting along and the systems move on. The other side, though, why did this question, why was this topic asked in the first place, is that they look, on the face of it, they look almost like oxymorons. That one cannot exist where the other does, because the logic, the ideals, everything is contradictory. How can they coexist? These are the 2 points you have, okay? What are some of the points you will give? What are some of the points you will give? Rakshana, like I said, for democracy and capitalism, like Karthik pointed out, Harvard Business Review has at least 6 articles, okay? But for every topic you cannot. Let's say you are So there was once this topic on India is better suited to a presidential system of government than a prime ministerial system of government. Now, unless you are a political science student, many students don't know the difference between a presidential and a parliamentary system of government. So there a little bit of reading helps, right? There are no proper essay books. What I'm saying is, read articles. If you read the Hindu editorials, if you've been following it, I mean, there is no substitute to reading. So Hindu once had given an article during the Indian president's election, when Draupadi Murmu, she was elected, they gave a very nice article on how president is elected in India, what is the system here, what is the proportional representation system which is followed in the US, and then compared, like, are we really suited to a presidential parliamentary system? So sometimes you get very good articles in op-ed, opposite editorial, opinion based on editorials, those kind of papers, you get lot of ones. Your bias is shown, but they are not bothered about your bias, Gaurav. Don't worry about your bias. Write your own views. Do not drop names though. Okay, do not drop names. Don't say Congress, BJP. Don't name people. All right. Try to be objective. Don't use very extreme terms. Like somebody said, such people should be lynched. Aise waise mat bolo. Keep it to the basics. That in government, let's say you talk about increasing, religion, interference of religion. Is India becoming less and less secular day by day? If you get this topic, you give instances instead of naming people. You say there have been communal riots, there have been parties which are instigating or which have been accused of instigating riots, but you don't have to take names. You can generalize views, but it should not be too general, Karthik. You can always talk of, let's say, the stampede. Basically, when they talk of corruption, right? In India, it has gone to such system that nothing is happening. People are getting scot-free. So they talk about corruption being the root cause of economic this thing in India. You can talk of very, very, very open cases of corruption in India. Do not name. Say we have cases in India where high-ranking defense personnel, high-ranking politicians, party officials have been accused of corruption, of blatant use of power, and have got away with it. Alright, little bit, punctuation utna nahi, grammar, punctuation I'll tell you where it hurts me most, when some of you write I like this, chota wala I, that makes it, so little bit. Yeah, you can mention things like right wing, extreme right, left, you can do that, don't be too careful, but don't drop names, alright, do not give names, exactly. Even for, I would in fact use Russia for Putin when I talk about Russian aggression, because when you read The Economist or when you read British newspapers or American newspapers, they say Putin is doing it. Vladimir Putin. Instead of that, you can change it to Russia. That makes it better. Russia's aggression of Ukraine makes it better, sounds better than Putin as if he himself is going, right? That's that much. It should not be small, no, never. So many people say I, and in your resumes you write that, then it actually kills a bit of my soul when I see that. Alright, so here are some of the points, right? What is the biggest problem with capitalism and democracy? Capitalism believes in unequal distribution of property rights. If you earn it, you take it, right? What does democracy believe in? It perpetually believes in civil and political equality. Now, without economic equality, you can't have civil and political equality. When property is in somebody's hand, with money goes power. Second one, capitalism is totally profit-oriented. But democracy is not profit-oriented. It believes in the good of the community or the common good. Capitalism, the decision-making process is highly concentrated. Democracy, well, at least in terms of elections, it is more distributed, majority decision-making. Therefore, the saying is capitalism is not democratic and democracy is not capitalist. The other side of the perspective, no, this continuing with the same thought, in many countries now there is so much socio-economic inequality that it has turned into social and economic inequality, ultimately becomes political inequality, right? Therefore, these are the challenges. Unless democracy does something, you are going to have autocratic governments. This is one side. You can, there's nothing wrong, otherwise your essay becomes very general, too general, Karthik. Okay, personal names you don't, but let's say the topic is about aggression, about Ukraine bringing the world to the brink of a nuclear disaster. How are you not going to name the countries, Karthik? Suppose you get a topic which says that the Ukraine conflict got the world to the brink of a nuclear disaster. Somehow wiser counsel prevailed and we got out of it, right? So you have to see, it's become a case of face saving for Russia right now, right? Like, they're being goaded. Putin is being goaded. You lost. He wants to show that I didn't lose. So he's somehow sticking on. But Russia has faced a lot of losses in Ukraine. So without naming the countries, your essay will sound like this country, that country, these countries, those countries. That is what I said is, don't mention like Rahul Gandhi, Narendra Modi. Those are not, never. You should not name people. Putin should not. Trump. Also racial terms avoid, right? Generally, be politically correct, okay? Absolutely you can, but that extreme stance is not the point. A stand is for or against the topic, right? But the suggestions that you give should not be like, shoot at sight orders should be given and things like that. When you are given topics like euthanasia, capital punishment, you have to take a stand. You are either for it or against it. So you can take a middle path, but you have to be clear that look, this is I believe this is better. Okay, so that's not extreme, by the way. All right, it cannot be called extreme. What kind of extreme? We tell you to avoid extreme statements, sweeping statements. All right. Now, the other side of capitalism and democracy, one side we said, right, how democracy, under capitalism, democracy can change into an autocracy. The second, another perspective is equally relevant. Makes sense that look, capitalism and democracies are the most predominant systems in the world now. Capitalism is the most predominant economic system in the world, and markets rule the world. Democracy and capitalism have advanced hand in hand. In theory, they have certain common enemies like concentration of wealth. Capitalism doesn't want too much concentration of wealth. Having said that, capitalism can succeed in places where there is concentration of wealth, but not democracy. But what is the actual state of affairs? They have coexisted. How have they coexisted? By compromising capitalism and getting into what is called social capitalism or the welfare state. So all these big Western European countries, North America, Japan, some more examples I had added. Oh, where did that go? That didn't, maybe. Ireland, England, right? All these countries have welfare economies. Canada, healthcare is free. So they are welfare states where the state does a lot for the benefit of the people. So they are following a form of socialism, though they are capitalistic, and that is how capitalism and democracy are coexisting. Got it? So both sides you can talk about it. And then of course we know what were the topics. I would like you to write, time yourself, one day at least, right after your entire XAT preparation is over, VALR kar liya, ye kar liya, wo kar liya, then write one essay on each of these topics. Each day choose one essay and write. Time yourself to 20 minutes, follow the steps, read the topic, understand what it means, write read up a little about it and write an essay. At least 2-3 essays if you type for half an hour before the exam, essay writing in XAT at least should not be a problem. No, somebody said 2, Rakshana. 2 are given and you have to write on 1. I don't remember what I did say. I'm becoming so forgetful. Somebody said 2. How to improve on CR? Read the argument given to you. Read it very carefully. Identify the conclusion. Rest will fall very easy. XAT CR is quite easy because the last few years they've asked only conclusion questions. Inference and conclusion. So if you have the facts at hand, inference becomes very easy. Conclusion is something that has to be true based on what has been given. Okay. So keep that in mind. You can answer questions better. Alright, any questions? Write on at least 3 of these topics. Write on the topics that you find most difficult. For everything in your mind, develop an outline. Say this is what I'll write, this is what I'll write. Maybe Google the topic and read one article related to it. And the rest of the time, at least on 2 you can type in and write your essay. 10-15 minutes, you're in a very good place. Alright, any questions quickly? Thank you. Thank you. Oh yes, God bless you. Of course you will do well in the exam. I'm also taking it and I look very happy. I take the exam, Rakshana. Pariksha dena but not giving. Yeah, I'll write the exam. Every year I write. I will get into the Guinness Book of World Records as the youngest person to take the exam. Yeah. Yeah, CAT and XAT both. But I write only English and decision making, VALR and decision making. So other sections I have fun in quant and all. I do my own thing. So I solve a question for full 10 minutes and I get the answer. I feel very happy when it's quant or something. But otherwise, these two with full, even in when I took most of the exams. NMAT also was fun. NMAT was great fun actually. So yeah, only problem is when I go there, the security personnel, everyone tells me parents not allowed, grandparents not allowed, and I have to show them the admit card, the photograph and say, I am taking the exam. How short of time, then how to end an essay? Gaurav, think of the moment you see 1 minute left for the exam, right? End by tying up your main points. What if we get a topic? You generally should not, Vijay Ganesh, you should not get a topic you're not aware of. Man, you read the newspapers, right? The other ones which are like the social topics, you can write something about it. You will not get a topic, they will either give you something relevant like a social issue, alright, or something like you've seen before, listening is a dying art. इस पे तो कोई भी कुछ भी लिख सकता है. So you have to try to see, let me write something which is good. These are very difficult to write, these kind of essays. Listening is a dying art, most of us only argue. What do you do beyond, yes, I agree, we are not listening, we are only yelling at each other. Beyond that, where do you go? You give an example of Republic TV, or what do you do, right? Jingoism, many students did not understand. So they kept talking of jingoism. What do you do? My keyboard didn't work properly, Karthik. But like I said, you are not given marks. This is as far as all my colleagues have told me at BYJU'S. You are not given marks for your essay, Karthik. They only look at your essay probably. Okay? So an essay is just their impression of you. So if such a thing happens and they ask you, why did you write only 2 sentences? If they do, then you tell them that my keyboard didn't work. And no. Sarcasm is never advised. I would never advise sarcasm in any event. They will consider at GDPI if they do Karthik, if they have your essay, they look at your essay and they ask you a question. GD mein to nahi, they may ask you in PI. Some students said they did. They asked him to speak. What had happened is the essay that he got was some topic. The GD topic that he got was exactly opposite. So they asked him like, how come you have two different views or something like that, and he managed to defend his views. You tell them the keyboard didn't work. You have to be very frank. No point in lying, right? You tell them the keyboard didn't work, I couldn't write much. If the keyboard doesn't work. Mine didn't work last year, yeah. It was very bad last year. That is the point, right? Gautam also told you yesterday that there is an extra half an hour given probably to take care of the glitches. Yeah, if there is a glitch, if there is an issue, then they want to give us that extra time. Like suppose your keyboard stops working, my entire system logged off, like the whole thing went blank, and for a nervous person like me, I am technically zero. So I had to go call the invigilator, he gave it a kick or something, it started working. So yeah, to make sure those help, so nothing else. But yeah, be prepared for a long wait, and all the best to all of you. I know all of you will do well, you've put in all the hard work, and make sure you join. Any of your friends want to join CAT 2023, do join. The description is in the link where you can join. Upcoming sessions, do not forget tomorrow Vikrant's CR section. Some of you were asking me questions on CR. Vikrant is the CR expert. He is going to talk to you about CR in XAT, followed by Abhimanyu, who's our GK person. He'll tell you last 6 months GK in one shot. Definitely need to look at that. Abhimanyu has this reputation of his PPT is having 3 or 4 questions at least which come in the exam. So do attend that. Gaurav will be there on Tuesday, decoding algebra and modern maths for you. Alright, I'll attend that also. Let me see if I can get something. GK में भी marks शायद नहीं देते हैं कार्तिक, I'm not sure. Okay. Don't forget to join us on January 8th at 7:30 for first impressions and detailed analysis. Okay. Live analysis with all the top faculty. Alright, and all the best. God bless you. You'll do well. Yes, so Abhimanyu is back with his GK, Gaurav with his quant, and Vikrant with CR. Don't miss any of those sessions. Alright, I will see you very soon in another session. All the best. Wishing you a very happy new year. Let's hope XAT makes it a really happy new year for all of us. Alright. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.